I was a little bit shocked that you would actually need an elder abuse shelter. But the image that is immediately conveyed to you when you think of elder abuse is you think of your own grandparents and how horrendous you would feel if your own grandparents were being abused. So being able to prevent that for someone else's parents or grandparents is a very meaningful endeavor.
Tell us who you are and about your role.
So I'm Larry Matheson. I'm the president and CEO of Unison for the Generation 50 Plus. And so I actually started this role just before COVID. So I've been here a little under 3 years now.
What does your organization do?
We provide services for seniors and older adults over 50. And so that's a wide variety of services, from health and fitness related programs, support groups, mental health groups, food security, you name it.
Who does your organization support?
We support older adults over 50 in the Calgary and Medicine Hat areas.
Tell us about the space we are in today.
Well, this is our elder abuse shelter, and it was actually built in the 90s, and it's kind of one of Calgary's hidden gems in a way, because it was actually the first purpose-built elder abuse shelter in North America. And surprisingly, there's very few elder abuse shelters in Canada.
How do you get funding to support the shelter?
We actually have a contract from the Alberta government. They fund 9 spaces in the shelter, and it actually costs a little over $2 million a year to run this program, and the provincial government provides us about $400,000 of that. So we're highly reliant on individuals and companies in the Calgary area.
What is the most rewarding part about the work you do?
Well, I think when I first started working here and I first became aware that we ran an elder abuse shelter, I was a little bit shocked that you would actually need an elder abuse shelter. But the image that is immediately conveyed to you when you think of elder abuse is you think of your own grandparents and how horrendous you would feel if your own grandparents were being abused. So being able to prevent that for someone else's parents or grandparents is a very meaningful endeavor.
What motivates you in your work?
One nice thing about working someplace like Unison is you never go home feeling that you didn't make a difference at the end of the day. You always know that somebody has benefited because of your day's work.
What would you like people to know about the importance of housing and shelter?
Well, if you were in a survival show, the first thing people talk about is the basic need. You got to get shelter. Now, when you're dealing with a vulnerable, high needs population, like many organizations like ours are, shelter becomes critically important, but it also becomes critically grounding for your mental health and your physical security.
What do you think people can do to ensure there is appropriate housing and shelter in our community?
Well, I think some of the organizations like ours are always in need of volunteer time. So giving your time and your talents, and obviously any organizations like ours, the shelters across the province need donations and need financial support. So giving your treasure as well.
Why do you think Day of Shelter is important?
I think not only does it provide a sustainability and a financial support for shelter of all type, but it also creates an awareness of those who might be in need in our city, and so it's doubly important. I suppose, to an organization like ours.
Thanks, Larry.